The first thing I'm doing is I'm showing you the ingredients that I'm using, and I'm just going to give you a rough name of the stuff that I use. First thing I have is a spray to grease your pot. The tools that I'm using, which you're going to need, is whippers, measuring cups, a bowl of a certain size, essence of almond, cinnamon, baking powder, allspice or mixed spice, butter or margarine, my soaked fruits, vanilla, and Jamaican red label wine that I used to soak the fruit and you're also going to use as a moister. I have my sugar cane, which is dark brown, and my flour, which can be all purpose or self rising. Eggs. Don't forget your eggs. You're going to be needing eggs also. Yes. So your baking pans of whatever size you choose. I got this one at Ross. It was only $9.99. And this one I got at another Caribbean store. So first thing I'm doing is you're gonna be needing three. Well, the recipe actually calls for a pound of butter, but if you're a diabetic like myself, you'd like to cut it in half, and most likely I probably should have used margarine because margarine I think have a less saturated fat. But this is not just for me, and I'm eating a limited amount, so yeah, the margarine is better. What I've done is instead of using like a whole pound of butter, I have cut that down. You're gonna want to be measuring your brown sugar, which is also 1 pound, that you're gonna cream together with your butter or your margarine, and you want to mix this consistency out as much until it become creamy and what foamy, I believe, is the texture you use. I started with a whipper and then I use a spatula and then I'm going to use a mixer. And you want to gradually add the sugar into the butter and try to get them to blend together easily. What I found right here is that I didn't give the butter enough time out of the fridge for it to become very, very soft. It was soft because I had it taken out of the freezer overnight and put in the fridge, but it wasn't out of the fridge, as in room temperature, long enough. And it could have been softer. So I would recommend, if you're doing this, to take it out of the refrigerator for a while, at least 2 hours, 2.5 hours before you use it. So I have to end up using the whipper as you can see right here. So I'm just whipping it to blend the sugar and the butter together to get it to become a very smooth, soft consistency where the sugar is blended out. And I'm just cleaning this off. This is just, regular thing. You want to try and get everything off. So when you add the rest of the ingredients, everything is combined together. This is a really easy cake to make if you follow the instruction. And I've tried to make this a few times and I've first did not follow the instruction properly and it came out slightly different and I had to alter some of the ingredients. For instance, when I say alter, I meant this called for 6 cups of flour. Now, if you're a diabetic like I am, you know that flour is carbs basically. So if you are diabetic like I am, and other people in my family is, what you'd want to do is possibly cut down the amount of flour that you're using, the amount of butter that you're using, and yeah. And if you like your cake very moist, you could also go ahead and add some evaporated milk to this, and it will give you a more lighter consistency in your cake. So I'm just kind of mushing everything together right now, clean it off, and excuse my talking. You see, I'm paying attention to my nephew. We're having some strange conversation that I can't let you guys hear. Well, I can, but it's some Jamaican blah 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 blah. I'm gonna want to the ears fall off. Yes, I'm moving at a slow pace right here. So, um, most likely some of this is gonna be edited out. My talking, I mean, because I'm most likely I'm gonna speed this up. Yes. How much spatula am I using? Oh yeah, I end up having to go get the spatula because my daughter wanted the red one I was using. Cause mommy, she wanna taste the butter and the sugar. You know, kids, you're baking. So now I'm adding in my egg, and you wanna add them one at a time, and blend them together, one at a time. And what you're looking for is that foamy, fluffy consistency with the egg, the sugar, and with the forehead, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of almond. Then you're gonna combine the dry mixtures, which is the flour, baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, and baking powder. As you can see, I'm mixing everything together. I'm folding it into itself. I'm using the whipper to make sure it's all blended out right here. And what you're gonna do is you want to divide the flour into three sections, and you're gonna pour it into the mixture of the butter, the egg, and the vanilla and almond extract that's there. And you want to slowly just throw that in there. You want to add your browning, which is like 6 tablespoons, but you can gradually add this in as you do your mixture, depending on the consistency and the color that you want. As you can see, I've already done that, and I'm adding the flour. And like I said, you section into three parts, and you're gonna add a sugar cup at a time. I'm sorry, the flour a cup at a time to make sure it's fully blended into this mixture. And you're just gonna whip that out, whip it in there. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna add it's a little messy right there, but I'm gonna add my red label wine, and it is 3 cups per per cake. So each time I add the flour, I just add a little bit wine to it, you know. Each time I add each section of the cake, the 3 section of the cake, I add a wine to help blend everything out. One thing that I have found with this recipe, I can tell you, is that I feel like may need a little bit more moisture to it. After I baked the cake and they came out, I feel like it could have been a little bit more moist. So, leaving you the directions to bake this below, I will tell you once again that you can add, if you're looking at it and when you finish blending it out, mixing it out, you feel like, ooh, it could be a little bit more moisture, have a little more moisture. Because one thing I want you to realize, what you're using for moisture is the red label wine, is the wine. And I think we're told that when wine goes into goes into or on any eat, it tends to dissipate after a while, which will leave you with a dry consistency. So after I follow this recipe, I have come to realize over the last couple of years that you need to add extra moisture to it, because like I said, the only moisture it got is actually from the wine, and wine tends to dry out when it goes on eat or in the or in the oven. Excuse me. So I'd recommend that you could add maybe a can or a cup of evaporated milk, whether skim milk or milk, just evaporated milk. Yes, you can add a cup of evaporated milk, and I think and I believe that this will make your cake come out more fluffy and more wonderful, because that's what I have done to mine. So yeah. So I think I also need to add that to my description at the bottom of this. So right now I've already added all my flour and just blending everything out. If you have a strong man around the house, you don't necessarily need to use a mixer, which I'd recommend. If you do it with your hand, it will be much better for you. So as you can see, I've already done that. Yeah. So I'm just blending everything out at this moment. So a quick fact is this cake, this rum cake, we Jamaicans normally make it during our holiday seasons, Christmas, New Year's, sometime birthday parties, at weddings. For instance, when I got married, I make this is a cake that I requested because I love this cake so much, and I promise you, you try and make this cake and it comes out the way that it should, you will make this every function that you have, and people will just love you for this cake. So this is the consistency of the cake, as you can see, as I blend it out. And now I'm just adding my fruits, which it calls for 1 pound of soaked fruit. And what I normally do, if you really want to try this recipe, I would recommend that you buy your mixed fruit, which, okay, I recommend that you buy your mixed fruit. They sell them in Walmart in the baking section. They have the mixed fruit, and I think now after Christmas is the best time for you to buy them and store it. What you do, I'm gonna say exactly what you do. What you do is you go to Walmart and you buy your fruits, your cherry, your mixed fruit, just mix raisin, whatever. You get a bottle. If you want a glass bottle or plastic, you can go to almost any liquor store nowadays. I think you can also go to Winn-Dixie, and you will find the Jamaican red label wine. Are in most Caribbean stores, most Latin stores carry it in their Caribbean section. It's Jamaica red label wine, and what you do is, depending on the amount of fruit you're soaking, you buy a bottle or two of red label wine and you put your fruit in there to soak. Preferably, at the most, if you really want to get good flavors from the wine into the fruit, is I would say 2 weeks. This is what the cake actually looks like at the end, and it is moist and rich. What you need to do is let it cool. Once a 3 hour time pass and it cools, then you want to go ahead in and you want to moist the cake with some of the red label wine that's left over. And yes, and that will be your cake. So hopefully you enjoy this little knowledge about our rum cake mix. If you do have any questions for me concerning this recipe and you need any more clarifications, please leave me a message below. Let me know what's going on. Let me know how you bake yours and it comes out. I'm gonna leave you a full recipe, a full description below, and any question, please leave. Thank you so much for tuning in once again, and remember to subscribe,